my, opinions from both ends. You are listening to The DP Show with Dimmy and Phil.
Change it. I think that's one of the reasons why Clinton won. You know, Clinton had this no matter what.
I'll tell you, when we first had this conversation about the letters, you were right. And
you know, I was just playing it up, and these guys are like, "What? It has a boost!" You know, I mean, over 25-year-old guys.
Poor job of organizing, poor job of educating too.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me make sure that everything is working here. Everything is looking fantastic. Look at that. I haven't done this in so long, but apparently everything seems to be live. YouTube is live, Periscope is live, and Facebook is live. Welcome to another DP show. We have a very special guest joining us here in just a second, live from Florida. I do want to remind you the telephone lines are open today. If you have any questions or comments, or you just want to call and shoot the shit with us, that's what the DP show is, to cure your COVID boredom. 215-383-5752. Press 1 when you hear the British lady speaking. Also, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and our wonderful Mr. Bill Tarling will be collecting them and tossing them our way, and that way we can answer them if we can. Usually we can answer every question, so feel free to participate and have fun with us. All right. Look at this. Look at this guy over here. Look at this. Mr. Matt Culley, all the way from Cape Senior Citizen, Florida.
Hi.
What's up? Phil, what is it with the glasses? Tell me.
Well, I'm keeping with the vacation theme. I mean, Matt is on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
So I'm trying to make him feel comfortable. With the remember the last show, the vacation theme, right? Remember? Oh, and by the way,
my head's burnt.
This episode is brought to you by Canned AF. Canned is fun. AF. Okay. And if this company would like to, if you would like to contact me and actually, support any of our videos, we'd appreciate it.
That is just such a great product. Can you come a little bit to the, just a little bit to the right? Because on this shot here, you're just a little bit cut, Phil. Just come. There you go. There you go. Phil's perfect. Perfect.
Closer.
So, Canned AF.
So what exactly does DP stand for? Because I haven't figured that out yet.
Well, you're going to find out by the end of the night.
You guys sponsored by Dr. Pepper?
No, it's very, very simple. It's Dimmy and Phil, the DP show.
Okay.
Dimmy, I don't know where your mind's going, Matt. I mean,
I double something. I don't know.
What did you think so? Of course, it's just Dimmy and Phil. I know everybody's mind gets very, very dirty, but hey, how's it going there? How are you enjoying Florida?
It's going great. Phil's been a nice host. He's got a great pad here. He's been dealing with my son, who's also here. He put him up. They're both Star Wars fans, so they bonded over that.
Shoot me now.
I might leave my kid here for the next 3 days.
Yeah, shoot me now. I have no interest in that. Do you like sci-fi stuff, Matt? Don't feel bad. I hate it.
I do.
I can't stand it.
I like Star Wars. I'm not a Star Trek guy. I get into some sci-fi.
You don't have to say yes because you're sitting next to me.
I like Star Wars, but I also like more like, I'm a realist. I like war movies, history shit,
Me too.
stuff like that,
Me too.
That's fine because he gives me shit all the time. I mean, he would rather stick this pen in his eye than watch Star Wars.
But I mean, your lightsaber collection was really, really impressive.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it impressed me too for like 13 seconds, and then I was like, okay, let's move on. That's exactly how much sci-fi I hate it. I like documentaries, I like war stuff, like you said, old stuff, anything that has to do with reality.
Wait a second.
Crime, all kinds of stuff like that.
You like war stuff, Star Wars. The wars.
No, like real wars, like actually wars that happen, Phil, not scientifically ones made.
They happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
I definitely expected some. Okay, just thinking of what Phil's house would be like. I'll be honest with you. I expected a sex swing, maybe some whips and chains, ball gag. I expected some things like that, but it's very family friendly around here, which is surprising.
There are plastic totes around the house that I'm not opening up for you too. I mean, just keep that in mind. Right? Yeah.
Okay, let me just make sure. Okay, I'm just checking with Bill. Audio's good. Everything is working. Look at everything is working fantastic tonight.
Now wait a second though. When you started the show, did the intro not freeze?
It did freeze. Yes.
Okay. Not that I noticed that or anything.
I don't know.
I'm very happy that you have the controls back now though.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of work.
We're all in high def now.
Yes, I hope everybody notices that I figured out a way how to bring Skype in and HD so we both look very, very good. And everybody can see how well tanned and robust and creamy you look, Phil. By the way, for the people that noticed and have been messaging me, yes, I have taken out my my casts finally. And I mean, you'll notice my hands look like baby hands because of the atrophy, but I am doing physical therapy now trying to get better. So the more I use them is actually good. So thanks everybody for the concerns, but that's just basically where we are with.
Your hands remind me of like Deadpool's hands, like when he gets his arms.
That's exactly right.
He's growing new arms.
It was scary because the first time that when the first time I went to the doctor and they took off the cast, I look at my hand how because it was a little bit still deformed. I passed out. Did I tell you? I don't think I told you that. I didn't want you to make fun of me. Did I tell you? Okay. So
and I will not make fun of you.
But now the second time they took it off, I mean, I've got the scars here, from the surgery and all that, but it's okay. I'm just in a little bit of pain here in my elbow, but everything is moving along. In about a month, I'm going to be my usual self. So I'm already feeling better.
You definitely need to build those forearm muscles up a bit.
Yeah. See, this is what sucks. This is why I went into depression, Matt. Right before my accident, I was going to the gym. I had started a trainer for a couple months, like one-on-one training for weights and stuff like that. And I was feeling really good. Had the motorcycle. I'd go out for my social distancing. It was my stress relief, So I was just in a very good place. And then this accident came along and all that went to shit.
Yeah.
I've been eating munchies, Cheetos. I've had this like weird craving for Cheetos for crying out loud. I've been eating so bad, and then then you use the excuse, well, I'm in the bed and I'm hurt, and I just went into a deep depression. So I just went and bought a new car and just said, fuck it. I feel much better now. So I'm back to normal.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you say you're getting back to your usual self, does that mean like an asshole prick?
Yes.
Or is that just me?
My usual self, asshole prick. I'll start snapping on Facebook.
You really haven't stopped that at all. I haven't noticed like a lack of that. Well, at least with me, right?
I started a new rule today. Anybody that posts, Phil, I love you. I mean, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't bust your balls. If I'm doing that, that means that I'm getting back to normal. But anybody that posts articles and use them as a source on Facebook, Matt, from like Livewire or like these websites, like they say, I am blocking them immediately on Facebook or snoozing them, one of the two. I can't tolerate that. This Facebook thing has gotten out of control, Matt. I don't know how. I mean, I know I've seen you post some controversial. I mean, I know you're doing it just to stir up some shit, but.
Well, I mean,
you do post some comments.
You do.
Let me put it to you this way: I'm afraid to comment on most of your posts, your threads.
Look, I just throw out a topic, a little morsel of information.
Yeah.
And, I can't control what people do underneath it. So, but back to the Cheetos thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw you earlier. You can't even get your hands in your mouth. So how are you licking those Cheeto fingers?
I have to use my right hand
That's what I
only.
wanna know.
Yeah, I have to use my right hand. It was this right here. I mean, I can probably get if I look really, really silly doing it. But yeah, I can eat Cheetos with my right hand. Or I just put them in a bowl and just swallow them whole. I don't know why.
That's motivation. The orange fingers, you got to get those in your. You got to get those in your mouth.
You don't want to. See, that shit gets on sheets.
I told him because he was very proud when he got his stuff off. He's like, "Look what I could do! Look what I do!" And he had a mod, right? And he's like, "Look what I could do!" And he went like this, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "I just have to work on that. I have to work on getting my hand up." I said, "Just pretend like my balls are in your hand and you're bringing them up your mouth like this, right?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're really over exaggerating the way I would hold your balls. It'd probably be a little bit more like this, but yeah, I would. I'll try to practice that.
Listen, it was very, very cold in that hospital room in France.
I don't know. It wasn't that cold. Welcome everybody that came over from ST Show. We're glad to have you here around. This is the DP Show. We're going to be talking about a variety of topics today with our guest Matt. And we're going to talk about some vape stuff, some serious vape stuff as well too. But try to put a little DP spin on it because it's been depressing, Matt. I mean, it seems like starting of spring of 2020 when the PMTA discussion was heating up and it seemed like it was the end. Then this group was formed with some wonderful people that figured out a way of how they can submit some PMTAs, even if it's minimum threshold of acceptance. People worked very, very hard to submit their PMTAs by September the 9th and get them in there, and a lot of them did. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to take a breather now. Whew, that was a lot. I mean, it was a tremendous amount of work. And then 2 months later, Trump signs into law the inclusion of vapor products into the PACT Act that was defined. So I think, deflation is one thing, but how do you see this journey from spring leading up to what's happening now with the PACT Act? Well,
it seems like it's always been like that, though, right? One thing after another, you get a breather for a little bit, and then there's something new. Even it felt like we had a breather in 2019, and then all of a sudden Trump was about to ban flavors.
Yeah.
So it's like there's always something around the corner. I think that anytime, with the PACT Act, obviously it's changing things. There's going to be some consolidation that's going to happen. But anytime a vacuum is created, somebody else is going to come in and fill it. And that's either going to be done illegally or in some cases legally. Some companies are trying to navigate through this and be able to ship legally. But I think, unfortunately, those that are savvy enough will be able to find the products they want. But obviously the people that are going to get fucked are, as usual, the grannies or the rural people or the folks that don't, aren't as internet savvy and don't know how to get the products that they want.
Do you think that this benefits? Because I'm a little bit torn. Do you think this, obviously this benefits big business, right? Everything that's designed in the PACT Act is to limit the people that are handling these products or the big companies. But I feel sometimes that laws like this actually benefit smaller companies that are going to go on the black market and basically say, fuck you, we're going to continue to sell. We're going to sell in the black market. And they actually have greater profit margins and make more money by going that route than actually complying. So it kind of benefits both in a way, in a kind of weird, perverted way. But do you agree with that?
Well, anytime there's a demand for a product, there's going to be people that are going to fill that demand, whether it be legally or legally. So yeah, it's going to help some of those guys that don't give a fuck, and they're just going to find other ways to get their customers the product they want. I also think it benefits big business because, if you're a company that has the money and the size to be able to navigate through all the new restrictions, and like a company like Giant Vapes we were talking about earlier, some of the others, and you're able to use a different shipping network and figure it all out, it's going to help them kind of monopolize the legal online market somewhat. So there's always pros and cons to everything. Consolidation, it sucks. I feel bad for anybody that goes out of business, but at the same time, did this industry maybe need to be consolidated somewhat because we've never been able to organize very well and have never been, one united front against the battles that we have. And maybe it'll help us with that stuff if we have a few less companies out there. I don't know. There's bright spots to everything, but in the meantime, there's also going to be people's lives that are going to be screwed up.
Yeah.
Phil, by the way, good evening to Petros all the way from Greece, awake at this time of hour, watching the DP show. Katerina from Greece, awake now. And Addie Tooney, what's up? Phil,
Say hello to Larry too. Say hello to Larry too.
Yeah, hey Larry. Yeah, and I know that their audio is out of sync, but I don't know how you can see it at your age.
No, there's other people complaining about it too, but you guys are just gonna have to deal with that tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm pulling an HD video of him, and then the audio is coming in through the different board, but that's okay. It works really good. But anyway, that's Phil, on that particular topic, right? I had this conversation last week with a few of my clients, and I said, in a strange way, this is good because the distribution of the products in this country is completely in shambles. I mean, you don't know who's selling it, where it's coming from, and I think this has contributed in the past in youth usage and who's buying these products, and we really can't track it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a product that people are inhaling in their lungs that contains nicotine. I mean, you have to have some traceability, right? Some recall, protocol in place. It just seems like we haven't had it. But more so, do you agree with that consolidation might actually help put that industry back in the right track and help people quit smoking?
First of all, we always needed regulation, right? The industry always needed regulation because I think what you just said is not talked about enough. We have a product that we're breathing in. We're taking this stuff into our lungs, right? So it needs to be traceable. It needs to be well made. It needs to be understood. But yeah, so like we always talk about the Wild West, and vaping has always been the Wild West. The industry has always been the Wild West. And if this works to maybe consolidate a little bit and to organize, because we've always talked about the fact that it's very hard even to control pricing on products, right? It's very, very difficult to do that when everybody's out there kind of doing their own thing. Maybe this will stop people from doing their own thing, but I think unfortunately it's also going to once again just make the product more difficult to get to. And I know we talk about the older people that are going to have a hard time navigating and finding it, but like our generation will never have a hard time finding product. The people on the chat will never have a hard time finding product, but it's always like my mom, right? What does my mom do? Yeah. And it's always people like and it's the people who haven't found vaping yet, right? And I wonder if we will ever see those people again because of all the negativity that we've seen in mainstream media, the bad reports, the bad studies, just the overall negativity towards vaping. Will we ever see what we saw, when the 𝗓𝗄𝗄 first came out, when the 𝗣𝗵𝗶𝗹 came out, when there were like just tons and tons of people quitting smoking and moving to vaping because it was like this thing. Oh my God! Finally, we found something that works for us, right?
You think we're going to get back to that, Matt?
I'm still optimistic enough to think that we're going to have that like second wave sort of situation where you can only hide the truth for so long. You even sometimes see kind of rumblings of it. People that were once maybe more anti-vape than they are now. We see some various studies coming out. They can't deny certain things like vaping works for quitting smoking for much longer. So I think at some point there's going to be a second wave of sorts. Right now, I think we're kind of in this weird reshuffling phase and like the just kind of figuring out where everything's going to land and how we're going to navigate through all of it. And it's mayhem and like, chaotic, but I think there's going to be a time where things settle down somewhat. Now, obviously, what could derail that? A federal flavor ban. That would be the big thing that would absolutely derail any kind of progress. So we have to wait and see. But I am optimistic that we'll see a second wave at some point. And that's really what it comes down to is we're getting less vapors, not just because they have less access to products, but also just because of the misinformation. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And if there was some just studies out there and the government finally said, let's just say FDA approves a few different vaping products for MRTP, for modified risk. Yeah. That would, it would be on the news. And
it's going to take 10 years though, Matt. It's going to take 10 years for that to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow or next year. I foresee a second wave. It's still so new.
I hope that you're right. I mean, like you, I'm in some vape shop owner groups, and I see a lot of people posting that they're busy and they see people coming back, and I can only hope that they're prepared now better than they were in 2015, 2016 to be able to provide them with the correct product and not just sell them, a disposable and get them out of there. But so I can only hope that they're going to take the second chance and convert some more people. And I'm going to switch back to this because you said something that kind of triggered something in my mind. The other day I was laying in bed, Phil, and
thinking about me?
Yeah, I was thinking about you. And then when I was not thinking about you, I was thinking about at some point in all of us that have been in this vaping space for many years. I think at some point, maybe 10 years from now, there'll be a documentary where they'll ask us a question like, what went wrong, right? And I was thinking about, like, how do you answer that? I mean, I can give you 1,000 reasons where things went wrong over the last decade with vaping and blame this and blame that. And I wanted to take your take on this, Matt. And I thought about it really, really hard. And the answer that I came up with, like the number one reason where things started to go wrong, is that we didn't get our message out. Like simply, and I'm not even talking about like even with a PR that we were discussing a few years ago, it would have been great to have that. But even if you had the PR, what would have been the goal? The goal was to get the message out. And by that, I mean, our opposition has done a great job getting the message out that this is getting kids hooked on nicotine. Whether it's true or not, it's irrelevant. We have truth, but we didn't get our message out. For example, just what you said earlier, this industry is built by the consumer demand, right? Devices, tanks, evolution has been built by us. It wasn't big tobacco coming up with some technology that they put out there to hook kids. We were just trying to improve our vape. And today, even today, people are still doing that with how they're going to build their coils and the intricacy that goes in to give better flavor, for example, in an RDA by a handmade built coil. That it's innovation. That message just simply has not gotten out.
Yeah, it's just pretty difficult when, it's so lopsided when it comes to the amount of money going towards that for that fight. But also, I mean, obviously a big difference is like in the UK, you had the government speaking up for it. And, in the UK, you still have anti-vaping groups, anti-smoking groups that try to throw shade on vaping, but people still revert to the government, and there's still billboards telling people to switch to vaping and whatnot. And that was the big missing piece that would have been so fucking helpful. The closest we ever got was like someone like Scott Gottlieb basically saying that, talking about the continuum of risk and that vaping may be a good tool for it. But I mean, that we need more than that. We need, respected health leaders to come out and basically say this is a less harmful alternative, and it would be a net benefit if everyone switched from smoking to vaping.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we haven't had
absolutely
yet.
Right, Phil.
So there was a time when I would have said that the biggest mistake that we made was we lost focus on the smokers, right?
Yeah.
We turned vaping into a game. We all the childish labeling and everything like that. And I don't think I would answer that way anymore. I would answer kind of the way you're answering, right? I think we didn't educate people enough. I think we didn't educate the public enough, right? But we also didn't educate those that can regulate us out of existence enough either. I don't think we worked closely enough with those people.
I agree with that. Let me take a phone call. Somebody is already on the phone. 914. 914. Can you hear us? Can you lower your audio, please, so we can bring you in? 914.
I agree with that. Let me take the phone call.
914.
914. Are you there?
Whoa.
Okay. Hi. Can you turn down because we can hear ourselves in it? Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Phil.
Hello?
Okay. All right, we'll get back to that in just a second. I just want to make sure everything's right. By the way, Mark Lane, thank you for the $50 super chat. Wow. Mark broke every record of super chat that we've ever received.
I was going to say, by the way, Mark, thank you very much. You have broken all of the super chat records. I expect everybody to follow suit and do the same that you just did.
Matt Culley does that every time he does it live. He gets like 5,000.
Do we need to split that with Matt?
No. He's on vacation. Doesn't count.
Okay, I might give you something as soon as I figure out where that money goes.
Mark,
I'll send you something.
Mark says
I've been drinking your liquor, so we're even.
Are you good? You want another?
No, I'm good.
Dimitri's glad to see you.
Sloppy.
Dimitri's glad to see you're not in a cast field. Thanks for keeping us informed. Matt, you're one of the three. You're one of the three of you to help get smoke free and something to do with advocacy. Smoke free 3 years, 2 months. Moved to Kansas in February. Now he's changed from Arizona because he used to live in Arizona. Mark's a great guy. And so yeah, absolutely, yeah. If you're gonna move states, you're gonna have to keep up with that state. Let me bring this. Let me see. Make sure it's not me. Okay, I just want to make sure. 602. Can you hear me? 602. 602. Maybe it is me. I just want to make sure that my audio is correct. Open sound settings. Yeah, everything is fine on my end. Check. Yep.
Your end is fine.
My end is fine. Anyway, all right.
Quite fine.
We'll get back to the phone line, see if I can make it. I got a question here from the chat. What is the future of loose batteries for open systems? Matt, you want to tackle that?
It's tough to say. I mean, we really don't know how strict the FDA is going to be with hardware. You know, obviously there's been some products that have submitted PMTAs. Are they? It all depends on how the FDA cracks down on hardware. We don't know. It's so far it seems like open tank system hardware hasn't been a huge priority for them, but maybe it will be in the future. We just don't know. What do you think, Demi?
I agree. I think that at some point that the FDA is going to say, look, we just don't have authority over this. Again, I think that we're not taking in consideration that the FDA did not think that these products are going to apply for a PMTA, okay? Because when the FDA put these regulations up in 2016, they said only about 25 companies are going to apply for 25 products, and they figured it's going to be something like the Juul. Right, so they didn't expect this wave of products and millions of products that are being submitting now. I think at some point, and that's going to take some years. I don't think that anybody's going to get penalized for selling a battery for an electronic cigarette without a PMTA. I just don't see that happening. But I think at some point the FDA is going to say, if products make it through the process and they get PMTA, then at some point the FDA is going to say, well, this has to go under the FCC or whatever. They would come up with the CE or whatever organization wants to handle that, and it won't concern the FDA. So I'm really not concerned about the batteries. What mostly I'm concerned is about, are you going to be able to get them for just vaping with all these companies that are putting these restrictions due to insurance laws and all that? Which that's more of my concern than it is what the FDA is going to do with it.
Wouldn't batteries be pretty much the easiest thing to work around, because the batteries in our products are also like widely used in the flashlight.
Yeah, but
flashlight industry.
He was worried about like actual hardware, the hardware itself too, right? Or did I read that wrong?
I think the question is, what is the future of loose batteries for open systems? I think it's just the battery itself.
Gotcha.
But the problem with that,
I think they'll always be around. I mean, Teslas are made with batteries like that.
Right, correct. The problem, Phil, is that if you buy that and you put it in a vaping device and you injure yourself, I think that's where the issue arises. I don't think we're ever going to have any problem getting 18650 batteries, obviously. But if you injure yourself and then you sue, then that's where the issues arise, because that's in any industry, you need to have somebody's going to be responsible for it. I mean, look at the PACT Act. They're requiring every company has a registered agent in every state. The reason they do that is for lawsuits. That's all. It's if something in your product in that state hurts somebody, they want a physical agent that's going to be in that state so they can send the paperwork to sue you, right? So when you're talking about lawsuit situations and those batteries, that could create some potential issue for the entire product category of vapor in the future. But again, it's just such a widespread array of variety of product that it's impossible for anybody to say, okay, well, this is going to be a battery that we're going to approve to be in vapor devices. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't see that happening.
Well, I mean, there are some batteries that came out on the market that were specific to the vaping industry, right?
Sure.
But I think the big companies, the Sonys and the Panasonics, they have pretty much tried to separate themselves from us by saying our batteries are simply not for use. They're not for use. They're not for loose sale.
Correct.
They're not for use in vaping products.
Yeah,
right?
which is just
they're
kind of
covering their asses.
legal
Really.
disclaimer.
Yeah, they're covering their asses. Right.
Correct. But if you buy that in a vape shop and they're not liable, then who are you going to sue? You're going to sue the vape shop. You're going to sue somebody. This is America, man.
Vape shop, you'd think.
Right.
I mean,
so that creates some products. Bridget with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Phil, for the 𝗬𝗄𝗃 𝗬𝗐. This is for the shipping. Thank you for everything you guys do. Bridget is the one that won the 𝗬𝗄𝗃 𝗬𝗐 in your in the platform.
Yes, and Bridget sent me an email, and Bridget said, "Please let me send you. Let me at least give you the money for the shipping." And I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "I'm going to take care of the shipping. I'm going to take care of everything for you." And now she sends a super chat. Bridget, I'm both angry with you and appreciative. So thank you, Bridget. That was very, very nice of you.
All right, I'm going to try it one more time. 507. Let me see if these phone lines are working. I just want to make sure it's not me. 507. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi. Can you hear me? Okay, they can't hear me, but we can hear them. So I can fix that. Just a second.
Yeah, he can fix it.
can he fix it like how the words are backwards?
He said it first. He said, by the way, everything is backwards for us.
I can fix it.
Everything on the screen.
I can fix it. Just give me 1 second. You talk amongst yourself real quick.
Looking at myself backwards.
But we
even
have.
worse.
I know it's horrible.
It's tough.
I know you can't read anything. But the good news is, if you look over here at the YouTube stream, everything is the right.
Yeah,
but
we look better on that side.
Right.
For sure.
Even though it happens like 2 minutes later, Let's see. Who can we say hello to? Mowgli. Hello. Pam is here. Hey, Nick. How are you? So have you ever vacationed here?
Not in this area, but I vacationed in Florida before.
Did you know I was this close?
Yeah, I messaged you. Well, I figured you were. I knew you were in Cape Coral. Then I looked at the map when Vanessa said we were going to Fort Myers, and I knew you were pretty close, and that's when I reached out.
I am.
I wasn't going to pull a Mike Vapes on you and just come down here.
Well, we need to talk about that,
and not visit you.
We need to talk about the Mike Vapes situation. Okay. So Mike Vapes was here like not too long ago, like 2 weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks
ago. A while ago, right? And I talked to Mike Vapes. I said, "Hey, listen," I said, "you got to come over to the house, hang out for a day. I'll come over to where you are." He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he fucking left. He went back.
I feel like we need him to call in.
I was gonna have him on the show, right? But he first of all he didn't. Second of all, I mean, Mike Vapes is very expensive to have on the show. You're much cheaper, right? So it was more cost effective to have you on the show.
I only charge you a few grand. He's what, around 10K?
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. But like open invitation for you and your family to come and stay and go out on the boat and have a good time. And how we doing there, D? We good?
Yes, I'm working on it. Go ahead.
Okay. So should we just keep talking without you?
Yes. As long as you see you on the screen, keep talking.
Okay, say hello to Larry. Larry's a really cool guy. Larry lives close to...
hello, Larry F. Hope you're doing well.
He's in Cape Coral. He comes over. He does lives with me every now and then. And when he does lives with me, Dimitri makes fun of us because, we're two old guys building coils and stuff like that,
Was Larry F. the guy that was in your your video?
Yes.
Looks like he's in the mob?
Yeah. Funny you say he looks like he's in the mob.
Oh, he's in the mob.
No, I'm not saying that. Did I say that? Larry, did I say that? I didn't say that.
You kind of said it.
I didn't say that.
You're gonna be swimming with the fishes tonight.
Oh, man. I told him, I said, "Oh, Jesus Christ." I said, "I'm going to have to sleep with my gun." He said, "That won't help." I said, "Oh, Jesus Christ." Okay. It's okay. It's okay, buddy. Actually, Larry's a really, really good guy.
We won't tell anybody, Larry.
And Larry and I talked online first for a little while, and then when I came to Cape Coral, we hooked up, and we've been friends ever since. So what's the review game like for you right now? I mean, are you still reviewing as much as you used to? Do you still enjoy reviewing? How about that? And I know that's a question you won't be able to answer straight up, but what do you think about reviewing?
The game itself, it's kind of up and down. It's actually gotten a lot busier. Like during COVID, it slowed down a lot because the companies just weren't putting products out. But it sped up towards the last half of last year and then into the first few months of this year. As far as enjoyment, it depends. It's just like anything, Like some days I enjoy it, some days I'm like, not in the mood to do a video. If I'm not good at masking my grumpiness. So like if I'm grumpy or I had a bad day, I have a hard time getting on camera.
I'm going to be honest with you. My favorite reviews right now are the way I started this game off, which is just e-liquid reviews. Getting on the golf cart, going somewhere, getting on the boat, going somewhere, and just trying a bunch of e-liquids and talking about the e-liquids. You know, I wish we were in a situation where it was very, very easy to get e-liquids and people, you could just order or go someplace and get flavors and get whatever you want. And that flavor development continued and then new flavors kept coming out. You know, it's really sad that we're in the situation that we're in. As a matter of fact, let me show you something here. I just got this. So the last e-liquid review that I did, I tell people, I'm like, who do you recommend? Who should I review next? Because I'm looking for mouth-to-lung liquids. Mm-hmm. Right? Not a whole lot of them out there, right? But there are some. And a lot of people recommend the Paradigm, right? So I ordered a bunch of e-liquids from Paradigm, and this is what I get from Paradigm, right? So it basically says, we'll flip it around here for a second. It says vape mail is ending. This is so sad when I see this. It's really, really sad. And what Paradigm is asking people to do is, if you use their liquids and if you enjoy their liquids, go to vape stores and ask them to bring in their liquids.
Your local vape shop.
Local vape shop. So,
which isn't a bad idea for them to.
Right. No, it's not a bad idea.
I don't know if that's going to focus.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it won't all focus. But yeah, I mean, it's sad when you see this. It's sad when you see this. It's sad when you hear about shops that are closing, shops that you've been involved with, shops that you went to the grand opening. You know, it's just it's so sad with what's going on with our industry. It's like, you know, we've been here for the birth. I just don't want to be here for the death too. I don't want there to be a death. How about that?
I feel like there's not going to be a death. That's just constantly changing.
And by the way, okay, it is constantly changing. You said you think there's going to be a second wave.
I do.
Let me get your opinion on this. Where do you think the second wave is going to happen? Is that going to happen mail order, in store, or vape mail order, vape shop, or C-store? What do you think?
Probably vape shop.
Vape shop? I hope so.
I
hope so.
All it would, let's just hypothetically say, which I'm not saying at all this is going to happen, but let's say later this year, some big groundbreaking study comes out, you know, FDA helped fund some of it or whatever, and they basically just say, we now know that vaping is safer than smoking, and vaping is also an effective tool to quit smoking. I mean, what are people going to do? They're going to go to their local vape shop.
First of all, that would be huge.
Sure.
Second of all, do you ever think that would come out of our government?
Yeah, at some point.
You really think so?
Yeah. I think they're going to have to at some point.
I hope so.
I agree. I mean, at some point, and to get, you know, just today, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a letter that was sent again to the FDA by one of our favorite congresswomen, 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗀 from Florida, if I'm not mistaken. And basically asking the FDA not to approve any flavor products that are in right now under the FDA's acceptance and review phase, because, you know, the kids are all dying from using these vapes. This just happened today again. Once again, like in the middle of the pandemic with COVID and everything else that's going on in our country, shootings out in Colorado, and like this is her biggest concern. But
she sucked for a while. I wish I could read the names, but they were backwards. So
well, yeah, you can imagine.
I'm kidding. I think there might come a point where the FDA has to defend their position. So,
bingo.
You know, let's say they approve Jam Monster or approve Naked or whatever, and they're going to get a whole bunch of heat for it. Oh, FDA approved an e-liquid that was called whatever, Watermelon Monster, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yes.
And they're going to have to defend why they did that. And it might get to a point where the FDA is actually an ally somewhat.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree. I mean, granted, if we can meet the threshold of completing the PMTA, right?
Sure.
But I totally agree. The only way that you can get these people to stop is for the FDA to come out and look, we've got the science. We did our own science. We put everything together. This product is less harmful than smoking. And if smokers would transition to it, then that would be a net benefit. The kids are always going to be, this is coming directly, the group that's pressuring Debbie and these other guys is obviously Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. And as long as that pressure continues on them, they're going to have to some way justify whatever is going on. My biggest fear is they're going to say, well, Yeah, Juul is better than smoking because they've met the threshold of proving to us that this product is less harmful than smoking and none of the other products. But even if it's just that, I think that we have a huge win on our hands saying that vaping is better than smoking. And I think that gives an advantage even to the black market at that point. It doesn't make any difference. How are we going to be selling? And these products are still always going to be around. So I agree with that. All right, let me try one more time here. Just one more time. 914. Can you hear me? 914.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fixed it. Go ahead. What's up? You're on with Phil and with Matt.
So it's Paul Kramer calling in. How you doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
All right. So just first off, thanks for all your work over the years, getting me to help quit smoking. It's been like 5 years now. So
fantastic.
Kudos to you. So I live in New York, and it's been a horror show here for longer than most places. No juice available, and now it's getting tougher to get anything else. The only optimism I see, because you have two enemies working against you, one is the government, the second the media, is that in probably the next year, pot will be legal in New York. And most people I know that use it vape it. So the only thing that I could see in the future is that potentially the government's going to allow shops to sell vaping stuff for pot, and if they're going to allow it for pot, maybe there's an opening for people who want to vape like we do. That's the only thing I can think of because I'm totally pessimistic otherwise. You could tell me different, but I'm worried.
Let's talk about that, Matt. I mean, Phil, you guys have a little more experience in this factor than I do, but it seems like.
Is he calling us pie?
It's pretty easy to call it pie. Yeah, it's okay.
From a research perspective is what I'm trying to say. But he makes a really good point. We're seeing state after state after state legalize and go after the financial aspect of THC and marijuana use. And it seems like there are actually right now, if we compared apples to apples today, I would say that weed is getting more of a pass than what vaping is, which is completely ridiculous to myself.
He makes a good point, right? But in my opinion, the technology is the same. The equipment is different. Right?
Yeah, but they have such a hard time differentiating the two. I could see it helping hardware itself, but that's not going to, overturn the New York flavor ban. What's going to help possibly in some of those states that already have things like a flavor ban is their smoking rates going up and people being like, hey, we told you this was going to happen. Now your smoking rates are going up. And because
but they don't care if the
vaping.
smoking rates are going up because they want the tax revenue.
Yeah, it makes a good point. I think what's going to save a flavor ban in the state is if a PMTA.
I know they want the tax revenue, but they also don't want the bad press. Okay, like in Massachusetts, there's already been a few articles where they've talked about smoking rates. The normal decline has flatlined basically. And so while yes, we know that they like tobacco tax. It makes them look really bad because their tobacco control policies have slowed down the people quitting smoking.
Yeah, so I also think. I also think.
Point, but
let me tell you, I also think that if a PMTA is granted for a vapor product, I think whatever company gets that will sue. Because once again, we're talking about a product that's legal, approved by the FDA, has market authorization to be on the market, and the FDA, in order to approve a PMTA, basically has to say this product is better than smoking. So then that poses a question for the state. I mean, if I had that company, I would sue New York to overturn this because you're denying your citizens. That would create, like Matt said, such a huge public just PR nightmare for a state if they're not allowing their citizens to use a product that the FDA has said is less harmful than smoking.
Yeah.
So once again, I think that the PMTA is the answer here to overturn these flavor bans in these states. And I feel for you and for others that live in states like that. And it's downright criminal if you ask me, and they need to be sued.
Well, it also doesn't hurt to because
Thank you, buddy. Have a good night there in New York. We appreciate you calling in. And keep on vaping no matter what these fuckers do. Keep on vaping. Go ahead.
Because you have some of the people that were the architects of that are now not they're getting a bad reputation. So for example, Cuomo, and a lot of more people have turned on Bloomberg over the last year. And so, maybe at some point there will be this kind of backlash against some of these entities that pushed these types of policies forward in the first place.
By the way, I have a sure. Yeah. By the way, I do have some breaking news. Just came in right now. Just have an announcement to make. I was sexually assaulted by Governor Cuomo. I just wanted to add my name to the list. It's just breaking news. It just happened right now. And when I saw him, I mean, not physically actually touch me, but when I saw those nipple rings on him, it just sexually assaulted my eyes. So I want to get on the list with everybody else. But in all seriousness, it seems that the phone lines are working. In all seriousness, it does seem like I can't believe that we're living in 2020. We talked about this on the Smoker Show with Phil about 2-3 weeks ago. But we live in an age where the stigma of weed is just like nobody's paying attention to it, or how much youth is using THC, way far more than vaping. And it's like there's no mention to it. And state after state after state, they're trying to legalize it. And here we are, we're trying to save people from dying from cancer. And we're like nicotine plugs that are trying to hook little Tommy on nicotine at 15. You know, it's almost surreal to me, Matt.
It is surreal.
Yeah.
The difference there is really glaring, right? When you see like vaping marijuana is being more accepted, vaping marijuana is being legalized, and that's just totally for enjoyment, right? That's for pleasure. That's for recreation. In some cases, it's medicinal.
Sure.
I get it, right? But vaping nicotine is designed to save lives, and that's okay. But this isn't.
Yeah, but you also got to look at how long it took for cannabis to get its day in the sun. Billions of dollars were spent. George Soros was funding groups like Drug Policy Alliance in the mid-'90s just to try to get medical weed approved in California. So like they've set up that it's not like it's just like out of nowhere. Like they've set up this big powerful machine over the last few decades to push these pro-cannabis laws, which I'm for. You know, I think you guys are too.
Absolutely, yeah, no issue.
So they have that infrastructure and that movement behind them that we don't necessarily have yet. We don't have the organization that they have right now.
So that's interesting. Why did they succeed? Is that the model for us? Because they were able to cooperate. They were able to get together. They were able to pool their resources.
Yeah, but it also, I mean, there's a lot of factors. You have social justice factors where people are getting thrown in prison, and so it made it a sexier topic. You know, like if a e-liquid dealer gets shot in the street, that would be horrible, but it would fucking help us a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like if they have thousands and thousands of people in jails because of cannabis, and so there's a lot of different ways to fight or reasons to fight some of the cannabis laws that we have now. But yeah, they have a lot of money behind it, and cannabis was smart, the whole movement, because they pushed for medical weed first. Like they didn't just go, you know, back in the mid-'90s, hey, we need to just legalize it all. People weren't ready for that. They eased people into it incrementally, starting out with California in the mid-'90s legalizing medical use. Then some other states legalized medical use. And then they kind of just keep pushing it. And now you have states like mine in Montana that just legalize recreational. I mean, 20 years ago, would people have ever thought Montana would legalize recreational? No way. But you got to ease some of these people into it because weed was stigmatized for 50, 60 years.
But okay. But also, would you not say one of the reasons is that the legalization of marijuana makes another huge revenue stream?
Oh, for sure.
That's it, right? I mean, that's what it's all about.
That definitely helps the conversation along.
Of course. Sure. And in a way, vaping removes from a revenue stream. Unless they tax it, which they are, right? But they make a lot more money with THC and marijuana.
I listen, I hear what you guys are saying. However, I'll be the bad weed guy here. I'm not the bad weed guy, but I do have to mention that these products don't have to follow PMTA, okay? I'm talking about THC products, which is mind-blowing to me, right? Especially with vape bros making like Delta 8 cartridges that are like hot as hell right now across the United States.
Will have to with federal legalization. That's why a lot of marijuana companies aren't necessarily for federal legalization, because they know once that happens, there's going to be a bunch of federal hoops they're going to have to jump.
But what I'm saying is that states are allowing these products to be sold. They're legalizing it in their states, but they're banning vaping products. And the process of these products being on the market is completely different. I would be more concerned of vaping a Delta in Georgia just the other day. I don't know if you guys heard, but they busted in, got all these Delta 8 guys, arrested vape store owners. It's bad. And I mean, who didn't see this coming? You know, you have guys that went from liquid, ruined that industry, went to CBD, ruined that industry. Now they're making Delta 8 cards. Surprise, surprise. But I would be more concerned about vaping, you know, Delta 8 that has, you know, all this complete, you know, chemical molecular structure, right? That's supposed to do one thing, it does something else, than vaping, you know, Dr. Creamy's bathtub juice. You know, I mean, I know that's not going to kill me. I might find, you know, hair in it. I might find, I don't know, a toenail in it, but it's not going to affect my, you know, the state of my mind, right? And they just can't get a complete pass.
Delta 8, it's just another form of THC, but the things you have to worry about are like what we saw with the Valley. You know, how are they going to make it? Because you can have guys that make it the wrong way, and John Nathan's a good one to talk to about that because he knows all the chemical processes. But if they make it the wrong way and they leave too much of whatever they use to extract it, I forget what it is, then you're gonna have big fucking issues. And so, you know, the product itself, Delta 8 or THC or whatever, I mean, it's not dangerous except for the fact that it makes you high. But there's other things in the manufacturing process that can cause some health problems.
Question from Pico Lecter. What is the best-selling e-liquid in the unsalted line? He wants to know what is the best-selling liquid in the unsalted line.
That, of course, would be the watermelon peach, the #1 best-selling flavor in the unsalted line. You should try this out. It's very, very delicious.
Do we even know that that's still the best-selling flavor?
It is.
Like, would it make a difference now? Like, even if it wasn't, he'd still be claiming it. But we talked about it just today before the show started to maybe have 3 new unsalted flavors coming in. And I'm going to work really, really hard to regain the top spot. I don't know about you, Matt. I'm going to put a lot of scientific effort in.
We cannot let him have the.
We cannot let this up.
New best-selling.
I am really, really tired of listening to this.
All I'm going to do is ice this, and it will once again be the #1 best-selling flavor in the unsalted line.
That's true.
So I will have
iced watermelon peach will do very well.
Do you think the shit is bad now? Wait till I have the #1 and #2 best-selling flavors.
Oh boy, you won't be able. Have you guys seen the new FDA ad for anti-vaping? Matt Sanson. Yes, it's horrible. It's just really bad. I mean, it's laughable at this point. 832. You're on the air with Phil, Matt, and Dimi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey. I just wanted to ask, did Phil take you out on the boat today?
No, he did not. I asked if he would take me out. He said that Dimitri told him he could not take any friends out on his boat.
That's the biggest crock of shit. I've been asking him to come here to bring his whole family here, but the cheap bastard doesn't have a rental car. He's got the place over there in Fort Myers, no rental car. So I even said, like, I'll throw as many people in my Jeep as we possibly can fit. We'll come back here, right?
I told Vanessa I'd get a rental car, but she said we don't need one. We're just going to hang out at the house and in the pool anyway, and it's all her fault.
I agree. But the offer absolutely stands. He knows that. Him and his entire family are welcome anytime.
He has been a great host. It's a very nice boat as well. I just surprised there's not more sex toys hanging around this place.
It's unbelievable. Like I said, I don't believe I could show you. Well, never mind. Oh, hey, speaking of sex toys, I want to say hello to Melissa.
Whoa.
What is that? Where did that come from?
That didn't mean anything. It's just like sex toys for some reason. It just Melissa's always here, and it just reminded me of Melissa.
That's just so. I'm sorry, Melissa. I apologize. I apologize to the caller too. You didn't have to hear that.
Sorry, Melissa.
So I'm stocked up. I've done everything I could. Stocked up on everything. Y'all kind of scaring me with the battery talk. But like Phil said and Dimitri said, I don't see them messing with batteries.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
They go into too much. They go into too many other devices. But what do you now? I did Phil. Let me ask you, how far away from Orlando are you?
About 3 hours.
About 3 hours. Okay. So I ordered from a company down there in Orlando, and a whole lot of DIY products. And I did receive my email saying that I need to hurry. If I'm going to make another nicotine purchase, I need to do it soon. And no, I'm perfectly okay. But what do you know about VG and PG?
There's not much they
going to
can
be
do
able
with
to
that.
still?
Yeah, they can't do nothing about that. You'll still be able to get VG and PG. I think you're going to still be able to get nicotine as well too. I'm going to be honest with you. I see people are stocking up and rightfully so. Everybody's kind of scared. I think you should stock up for the next maybe 2 to 3 months, just until things settle down. Because I guarantee you, within 2 or 3, we will find solutions. There will be solutions out there. I guarantee there will be solutions.
Exactly. I ordered from Geico out of California, and I actually called the man, and we were talking, and because I couldn't make up my mind if I wanted to get the side-by-side. And I told him, I said, man, it's a lot. I want it, though. I want it. And he said, don't worry. Don't rush. Don't worry.
Yeah.
They are going to ship through another carrier. It's not going to be any of the big 3 that are up for denial.
Yeah.
But that makes me feel a lot better.
Absolutely.
To see companies out there that are saying that they're going to find another way, don't worry, rather than close up shop and run away,
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think we're going to be okay. Just stock up for a little bit, just until the vape clears, and then we're going to be fine. And as long as you're watching the show, we'll tell you where you get your shit. Don't worry.
It's really good to see you waving your arms around, Dimitri.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
God bless you.
God bless you. Thanks. I really appreciate that. I really do. Thanks for the call.
Larry, do we have enough nicotine to make it through 2 or 3 months? Are we good, Larry? And
yeah,
Matt.
you should have enough. I mean, listen, listen. I just want to say this because I saw somebody posting the other day in the platform group. They say they bought like 100 bottles of. You buy 100 bottles of liquid that's fixed now. I'm not saying it's gonna go bad, but nicotine does degrade. The flavor's gonna change over time and all that. Just don't go that crazy. I mean, I know you're panicking, but don't go like crazy like that. Like buy 1,000 bottles of your liquid. You don't need that. 2-3 months.
Actually, that's not true, because if you would like to buy
unless you want to buy unsalted
watermelon peach, the #1 best-selling flavor in the unsalted line, feel free. Don't pay any attention to Dimitri. Go out and buy your 1,000 bottles right now. Okay,
Matt, you see, this is why he's #1. He sells it so much. I think we got to up our game.
Constantly.
It's just unbelievable. All right, let me.
My flavor's superior, but I just feel like it could stand on its own merits. I don't need to
I agree. So I'm looking at Walmart charges a lot for PG, like $18. Yeah. I think PG and VG is going to be fine, and I think Mowgli's in the chat. He's been DIYing and making liquids for forever, and I'm not concerned. I'm not jumping off.
Yeah.
I always use that as I'm not. You don't see me jumping out of the 4-story building. Then things are okay.
We should talk about like what we do know so far. So we know that some of these companies, the big ones, are still going to be attempting to ship through a new company called X Delivery, which wasn't set up for vaping. They've been around. It was basically a company started by a bunch of tech bros and logistics guys that are really smart. They seem legit. I did a lot of homework on them. But anyway, you can only go through them if you have 500 packages a day. So only the big dogs are going to be able to use them. They say that they're going to be able to cover 70% of the country right off the bat. And then they're going to try to keep their mission is to cover 100% of the country. So there is going to be legal ways of ordering vape products online still. There might be some holes in it. Like Dimmy was saying, like there might be a time where you're not going to be able to get what you want for a month or so, or a couple months. And, maybe you live in a super rural area and you won't be able to get a package out there for a while. So
I'm sure Montana won't be included in that 70%.
I'm probably screwed. So it doesn't hurt to stock up, but I don't think we're going to have complete 100%, online shipping gone for good.
I completely agree with you. I have heard from multiple companies, some of the big guys, and I think that even some of the smaller guys will eventually be able to utilize some of that service, or even join forces with some of the big guys to be able to continue. It's unfortunate. Okay, I hate it. As somebody that believes in the free market, trust me, I absolutely hate what is happening to small businesses. But sometimes you just have to get creative, and that's one thing that if this industry does very well, is in desperate times, they get very, very creative. So I'm seeing good things. I'm seeing good things from the B2B sector. I'm seeing good things from the B2C sector. And I think within 2 or 3 months, you're going to see that all this panicking will kind of settle down. There might be a few people that go out of business. I think that's just inevitable in any society feeling. I mean, in any kind of business, that this is going to happen when we see that much regulation. But things are going to be okay. Don't panic.
Things are going to be okay. I still feel bad for that mom and pop shop.
Yeah,
I feel bad. I think I feel like the worst for the people who were with the industry from the start, right?
Yeah.
The OGs. You know, the people who really kicked off, the ones that were at those first vape shows, right?
And we're going to have a guest, by the way, next week. That's going to be one of those, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have Zen. Mike Morgan is coming on the show, so we're going to have an OG next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, there's going to be another DP show, so make sure you guys tune in for that. That's going to be a really interesting show.
Yeah.
And by the way, Dimitri, I just want to say that the new scenes look fantastic.
Thank you.
And now that we have the chat up on the screen,
you can't read it. Go ahead.
No. This would be a great time for a super chat because everybody would be able to see it. Right?
Yeah, that's really good. You should really begging. You're selling your number one watermelon liquid. You're pimping yourself out for so. You're doing just a fantastic job. I want you to represent me in the future.
I mean, even with my son who's here right now, he tried to show me up with my son. I mean, he's showing my son all his freaking custom-made lightsabers, his video games. My son doesn't want to leave here. My son hates me now.
Yeah, it's a good place. I love going to Phil's house. It's really a fun place.
But it is just like with any industry. Unfortunately, like it starts out usually with a lot of small players. You get consolidation. I think even without the PACT Act stuff and without PMTAs, you'd eventually see more and more consolidation, and some of those big dogs kind of get to the top and kill off some of the smaller ones. And it's sad. Unfortunately, that's kind of how capitalism works, especially in a regulated market.
Yeah.
The big concern, obviously, is like you want everyone to still be able to get the product that they want. You don't want to see anybody go back to smoking.
We also need to take enforcement in consideration as well too. This is fairly new. Let me tell you how new it is. It's very, very difficult. Working with my clients, I always try to find them ways of how to make their life easier. But even for me, trying to get information, for example, USPS right now is not taking applications for exemption, even though in 3 days the comment period is over, and this can be enacted into law the next day. It's probably going to take a few days until the comment period is over, and then the FDA, and then they actually the USPS puts out the final rule. But right now it's so difficult you can't get the exemption. Right now, if you contact the ATF, you have to file for your federal license, but then you have to deal with the states, and you have to deal with these states individually. Every state is different, right? So you call it now a state, for example, like Tennessee. Tennessee does not have excise; it has zero taxes on vaping. So the government here said, well, if you sell over $100,000, then you have to file a report. That's it. You file a report. It doesn't make a difference if you're paying any taxes. You're filing a report. So my argument was like, why do we have to file a report? Why do you need to know what products I'm moving into your state if you're not picking up any taxes on it? So it's really, really difficult right now. Is what I'm saying is that it's infancy. We don't know how it's going to be enforced. If it's going to be enforced at all. If it's going to be from the ATF or if it's from the individual states. There's going to be a little grace period going out there. I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done by these vendors. But we just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Interesting times indeed. I mean, it's at least hopeful when I made a live stream about this like a month and a half ago, I said, watch what the big dogs do. If you see someone like Giant Vapes or the Element Vapes and companies like that basically say, we're going out of business, we're not going to do online shipping anymore, then that means the world of online vaping is, online vape shipping is basically over. But the fact that they are finding ways to get through this gives me some hope.
Yeah, I totally agree. Gary Funson says, "Hi guys, just wanted to say thanks to Phil for replying to my email and recommending the 𝗂𝗎 has solved my search for an MTL set." Thank you, Gary.
Awesome.
Yeah, I absolutely love the 𝗂𝗎.
Dimitri, you said an interesting word before. You said enforcement, right? Nothing, as far as I understand it, nothing has been enforced, right? Nothing, absolutely nothing has been enforced. We've seen warning letters, right? But we've seen no enforcement of any kind on anything to this point.
Yeah, the only thing that we've seen is some ramp up from the FDA in the last month. They've sent out about 23 letters, if I'm not mistaken, to companies that are selling products that have not filed a PMTA, meaning by the deadline. And it's funny because some of these companies that received it have actually filed PMTA, but not for the products that they got cited on. So it's kind of funny that they actually went and pinpointed a product. That usually happens when somebody has been turned in, meaning somebody called them or sent them an email and said...
And also, I think they're trying to make it look like they're doing more work than they
Correct.
are, because they had everyone register their products back, 4 years ago?
Correct.
So now they're holding up the registration list next to the PMTA list, and they're like, oh, these guys registered, but they didn't file a PMTA. Boom, there's your letter. And so they could just send all these letters out in one day, just going off the list, right? But we're just going to release 10 a week, so it looks like we're just constantly working to enforce against this industry, when I don't think they're actually doing much work other than just checking people off on a list.
I agree, but to Phil's point, yes, up to now we have it, but we haven't taken into consideration one thing, is that now we have the ATF involved.
Yeah,
so
that could be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, up to here, the FDA, we know the process, and I think that's what's really, people are like, whatever, they're going to send you a warning letter, and they're right, because the process of the FDA is so slow, and to get to the very onerous penalties, it takes a very, very long time. By that time, you're probably not even selling that product, because that's how this industry is moving that fast. But when you get the ATF involved, it's a little bit different, and these are scary guys.
If Phil starts sending out watermelon peach to customers from his house, they could just beat these doors down.
That reminds me, I have to fill up my tank with a little watermelon peach, the #1 best-selling flavor in the unsalted line. Everybody say goodnight to Larry. Larry's very
Larry, yeah, it's bedtime. Good night, Larry. He also has to check in because of his ankle monitor. But
Larry, I am 28% Italian. Let me know if that's enough Italian to get in the mob, because I could use a second job.
Not even close. But yeah, so yeah, the ATF makes it a little bit scary. These guys can bust in with guns and stuff like that, and they do that sometimes because they're the ATF and they think that they're the shits. But I did find out, Phil, as long as we're 18 miles from the coast in the submarine, 18 miles from the coast in the submarine, we're clear.
Matt, do you have any fear of submarines?
No, I'm done with the submarine.
Okay, good.
I got to say hi to my lovely partner and fiance, Vanessa, who's in the chat.
Oh,
Vanessa looking very good today, by the way. Extremely good.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I made sure she was in. I told her, you need to shower up and get cleaned up for Phil.
Yeah, and she did good. You're by far your better half.
Oh, she's definitely my better half.
Yeah. Hey, Vanessa, I hope you're
a lot more.
You're having a good time down there in Florida with the kids. Question. Daryl Roach, I heard China is stopping the box mod market, staying with pod mods. Do you know if this is true? Absolutely not.
Not true.
Not true.
China is going to make whatever sells. If tomorrow a 3-foot-long tube shaped like Phil's wiener was selling well, and you could vape with it, that's all they would make.
Dimitri actually has one of those right behind him right now.
See right there? That's the legal vape 2-inch. That's the next video.
That's all they don't have a plan, like we're just gonna not do this. Like they'll do whatever the hell sells. That's what it completely comes down to.
We're working on a box mod right now, so I mean we'll be out in a couple months. So it's not that. I think that you're seeing a lot of pods because that's what's selling really hot right now. So we're seeing all these disposable vapes. But I think that even from our sector, the open vapor sector, I think we're seeing some good products come out. Matt, I mean, you as a reviewer, I'm sure you get a whole lot more product, but I see devices coming out. I don't see that much sub-ohm stuff, but I think that that's going to make a comeback as well too. It goes on the wheel, but we're seeing good open vapor stuff come out.
Yeah, and I mean, just like, you've been doing this for longer than I have, both of you guys, but throughout my review career, which has been like 7 years now, there's constant, squonking gets popular, then it's not popular anymore. Then sub-ohming gets popular, it's not popular anymore. And so we're probably going to see cycles like that throughout.
Always.
And yeah, right now you have pods and pod mods that are popular, both for sub-ohm and mouth to lung. But it would not shock me to see a resurgence in sub-ohm tanks or RDAs or whatever. It all cycles through.
And you know what I think helps cycle it through. Okay, so let's look at something like Innikin's Fourier technology, the census technology, right? So now we can go back and in all of these box mods we can put that technology. Let's take a look at the new Geek Vape 𝗵𝗶𝗶, right? Okay, that has some of the most impressive charging that I've seen, right? Now we can go back and put that technology in a whole bunch of, and I think that's as long as we got something new to go back and put in those box mods, I think we're gonna continue to see stuff like that come out,
sure.
Right?
I totally agree. All right, we got a phone call I think that's Florida 727. You're on the air with Matt, Phil, and 𝗵𝗵𝗶. What's up?
Hey guys, I just want to say something to Phil real quick. It's our 10 years ago, literally to the month. This is when I quit smoking, and he's the first channel that I found. So I've been watching you on and off ever since. I was like a super enthusiast for a little while, and then I just was like a regular guy, just going about my business vaping. So I heard about the vape ban, and I wish I would have tuned into this show before I spent all this money and have the hundreds of bottles sitting in the freezer now. I had a question about storing nicotine. So I ordered this this nicotine. It comes in a black plastic bottle. I got 3 liters of it. Oh my gosh. And I've never made anything before, but so can I just leave it in the freezer in those plastic bottles, or do I need to move it into something else? Because eventually I'm going to actually try to make my own. So
you can.
Hopefully that works out, but.
Yeah, you can, but also if you look at, I'm just giving you a suggestion on the same playlist here with Phil on his channel. We did a complete DIY episode where we talked into detail into that. The suggestion that we got from Jennifer, which she's 𝗔𝗫 fairy, she's very, very good at DIY, was like, take it and move it into a dark glass bottle and then store it in the freezer. That's the suggestion that she made because glass is just a little bit better. But even if you just leave it in a dark container in the freezer, that's your best avenue.
Yeah, I mean, really.
I got to say.
When you think about the purpose of the dark container, right? That's to protect it from UV. So in your freezer, it's not going to get any UV, right? But that is the best place to store it, is in the freezer.
Could glass be better though as opposed to a plastic bottle, just because plastic could potentially crack or something?
It can potentially leach. That's the issue, depending how long you're going to keep it in there. But obviously nobody's done any testing on that, even though that is an FDA PMTA requirement. I forgot to tell you that earlier, Matt, which I found out about. But yeah, glass is just better, in the freezer. Keep your nicotine. It's going to be good. You'll go through years before it goes bad.
What was your name?
And thanks, guys, for everything you're doing.
Thanks, man.
My name's Sonny. So I used to interact with Phil on like ECF and stuff years and years
that's
years
cool.
ago.
That's
great.
Cool.
Guy. Love your channel. I was the one that just said, "What's going to happen to Boba's bounty?" Like, that's the kind of guys I'm worried about. And
I hear you.
they're still around. Those are small businesses that have been around for 10 years. And then what about guys like me that were just hopeless cigarette addicts that may not find the right device? I don't know how many devices I have to go through with somebody to get them to switch. It's never the first one. They're always coughing. So then I'm like, okay, let's try something else. It takes time. It's not like one size fits all.
Absolutely right.
I think it's devastating for the American health. And thank you guys for everything you're doing.
Thanks,
really
man. Thanks for calling in. And he brings a good point about what I said earlier, Matt, is like that we couldn't get our message through, and that's part of the message. Vaping is not a one solution of a prescription. Here, you're gonna take this, you're gonna quit smoking. It's the variety of products that that message needs to get across. We need all these products because everybody's different. Everybody's going to quit with a different flavor. Everybody's going to quit with a different device. Everybody's going to quit with a different drip tip. Very small one, for example, in your case.
To back that up, there's been studies to back that up. The variety is part of what helps people quit. You can't just make vaping be as good as smoking as far as the nicotine delivery and the enjoyment. It's got to be better to make people get rid of the cigarettes, and that is the flavors, the various devices, so on and so forth. And so the variety is what has built this industry up like it is today. If we didn't have that, we'd be nowhere.
I totally agree with that, and it's just unfortunate. By the way, Sonny, Bill has put the Smoker Show DIY episode link in the chat on Facebook and on YouTube if you wanna just like bookmark that. And that was a really good DIY episode.
Can I just take a moment to really thank Sonny? Thank you, Sonny, for sticking with me and being with me all the way from the ECF days. That's really cool. And Mowgli, I have it. It's back.
Oh, I've seen that thing.
There it is.
I've seen that thing in so many videos. And
I know. And Mowgli would like you to hold that. There you go.
By the way,
I always imagined it heavier and bigger.
Hey, Matt.
That's what she said. Yeah.
Matt, that is actually the actual size of Phil. That's how it was. I was actually molded from Phil.
It's girthy.
It's not bad, right?
The tip's a little small on there, but I will say.
Look at the size of him, though. He's like 6'7".
It ain't got nothing to do with it. It's small. It's small, Phil. It's all right. Just own it.
Vape YouTubers that I ever watched too, so it's somewhat surreal for me doing a show with you and coming to your house and stuff.
Oh, that's really cool, man. That's really cool. Yeah, but you've always been one of the guys that I've respected in the industry. I know we're sucking each other's cocks right now, but
yeah, that's hot.
Yeah, right. But seriously, I mean, you've always been extremely respectful, extremely intelligent. You represent yourself in the industry really, really well. So I mean, you're just one of those guys that I'm proud to have you sitting next to me in my house right now.
Thanks,
How about
buddy.
that? Okay.
Does this have a built-in battery?
No, you gotta hear.
I don't want to break it.
Okay, first of all, by the way, big problem here. Okay, missed opportunity. Should have been a squonker. You squeeze the balls.
Oh,
absolutely right. But here, right there.
Oh, okay.
It's just basically a really bad mechanical.
How long have you had this for?
A long time, years. God, how many years? 4, maybe
longer than that. I mean,
I'm just thinking 4 because I've been here for 4 years. But
because I remember watching you, I think even before I started my channel, and you had.
I remember him polishing it very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he polishes it well.
Yeah, very, very good. He does a very, very good job.
Shape has maintained. There's been no degradation.
My favorite nickname, $5 super chat from Boob Sweat leads to pearl necklaces. That's just the best. That's just the best YouTube name ever. Hey guys, still trying to completely switch. Waiting on ingredients for DIY. Got a 12 milligram 70-30 mix coming in with a few different flavor mixes. There you go. Congratulations. That's what you need. A little variety. Find what works for you in order to completely get rid of the cigarettes.
Is it like an 18500?
It is. I was gonna vape it, but I don't have the right battery. Oh well.
Yeah, that'd have been funny for you to vape it. Hold on, we got a phone call. Let me go ahead and bring them in.
Oh my, opinions from both ends. You are listening to the DP Show with Dimmy and Phil.
406, you're on the air. 406, you're on the air with Dimmy, Phil, and Matt.
Yes, hello, this is Patricia Sledgehammer, and I'm worried about the watermelon vape ban.
I know who that is.
Who is it?
Fucking Canadians.
Canadians.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, it is Canadians.
Oh, dear.
See? I know it. It's Bill.
Of course it's Bill. Bill, what's up?
Bill, go eat some poutine.
Bill, eat some poutine. Bill, give it up.
Patricia Sledgehammer, and I want to know about the watermelon vape ban.
All right, it was funny. All right,
hang up.
Yeah, it was funny for like two seconds. Let's go back to boob sweat leads to pearl necklaces because that's true. That's actually a proven fact. We've actually done that. So we haven't done it. We've researched it. Okay, so it wasn't Bill. So it was somebody else. So Bill just messaged me. It's not me.
It wasn't Bill?
No, it was just somebody just doing a joke. So back to what we were saying a little bit earlier. You know, the variety of these products for somebody that's switching is the vape shop's specialty. So in a kind of a weird way, I'm hoping that this will drive more people back to the vape shops. And I'm also hoping, Matt, that they're prepared for it. You know, they're prepared to have that. Let's not just, you know, it's so easy to give somebody just here's a disposable and go. We need to go back to those days, the early days, where the vape shops really were nicotine specialists, right? They were there to take that 45 minutes, that hour to really work with a customer. I remember Vapor Evolution when it opened in California. This is absolutely true story. There were so many people in there. They had like 15 people working the counter, Matt. You had to take a number when you went in. They couldn't service.
Vape was nuts back in the day.
Right? I mean, you had to wait like just an hour just to see. And then they'd sit down with everybody and just give them one-on-one, you know, make sure they go through that's why it took so long. But it was just tons of people. I mean, this place was doing like $15,000 a day, right? Just crazy, crazy, crazy. And I wish that for the vape shops to go back to that. It's good for the industry. It's good for the sector. And it's good for these mom and pop shops for the last 2 years have been brutalized by EVALI and by batteries exploding and by vaping causes COVID and all kinds of. They've just been really, really under a lot of pressure and stress for the last 2 years.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it's a horrible time to start a vape shop if it's in a place that that's not covered well. Obviously, you still have threats like flavor bans and things of that nature, but I could definitely see a big resurgence in the vape shop scene.
Absolutely. Sonny, thank you for the $5. Thanks so much. Great show from Sonny. Thank you. We appreciate the super chat.
Vaping actually causes Governor Cuomo to sexually harass you.
It does. So what? So what? I mean, it's unbelievable what's happened with this. I mean, from a political standpoint, let's switch to that a little bit, Matt. We've talked so much.
Oh, here we got the guy.
There we go.
We got the guy for that. Okay, here we go.
We're in a very weird place, man, in this country at this point. I find it unbelievable that people will link something on their Facebook as an absolute Bible from some of these websites that are out there. And these are adult people that are like business people that I just find it so. Is it just me? Like I used to get like really involved, and you've seen for the last 6 months, I just step back. I just snooze, block, or move on. But is this like really happening? Is this like real life now? Is this how?
We live in a world where people get news from memes and shit. So I mean, it's a weird time.
Holy fuck! We just got $5 from Nick Grimm Green.
We actually got it from his wife, Pickle.
Oh, all right, it's okay. Oh.
She's such a great gal.
His better half, dude.
Yeah, it's his better half.
It's like Vanessa.
Vanessa's my better half.
All right, I understand.
Pickle's his better half.
Hi, Nick. How are you? I sent you a goddamn Facebook. Seriously, it's me. Can you send a message back like within like a month?
Nick usually takes 4 days to reply to my message, and I'm an advocate. So for you, it's going to be a week.
How long do I take to respond to your message? Because you gave me all kinds of shit today.
Too long. I should be in your ICE list. You know what ICE is? It's in case of emergency. That's right. I should be. As soon as it rings, you should immediately answer it. But yeah, thank you for the $5. Dimi, I'm really glad you can wipe your own rear again. Good to see you, whole friend. Thank you. By the way, I met Grimm Green's wife before I met Grimm Green. Because she used to live in Tennessee. Absolutely.
She's been around the vape scene for quite some time.
She used to work for Pure Smoker.
Yeah.
In Nashville, and she visited me with her friend at the Chattanooga restaurant. She had dinner one night. It was just a little odd fact. You might see it on Jeopardy one day, so I'm just giving you that out there. But yeah, she's a great gal.
I got all excited because Nick said, "Hey, Big Lou," and then 5150. I thought 5150 was the super chat, but it's not.
Yes, that's
you know what though? Like as far as what we're talking about, like news and social media.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've been saying this for years, and it is so very, very true today as when I first started saying this, right? And that social media is fantastic because it gives everybody a voice. And social media is the worst thing in the world because it gives everybody a voice.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
It's not black and white at all. I mean, it's a great tool, but it's also really bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. I think when you're influencing, when you're if somebody makes a post and says, "Oh, Biden or Trump or what did this, and this is, and you should vote this." Like, does anybody read this and say, "Oh man, you posted a link to Newsmax, I'm going to change my vote"? I'm just so influenced by your post that you really made me just look at things. Does that ever happen? And if it does, then that's scary.
I mean, I think it's possible. For example, on Twitter, there's a shitload of fake sock accounts on Twitter, not just with political stuff, but with everything. And groups wouldn't have those accounts if it didn't help them shape public opinion. Yeah. So for example, you had like the Russian Twitter bots or whatever you want to call them. That's a real thing. But I've talked to people that work in politics in the U.S. Democrats have their own big group of accounts that are sock accounts. Of course. Republicans have their own big group of accounts that are sock accounts. And I know people that have worked in those departments, and their job is just to tweet all day, about their ideology or whatever, and to engage people and to spread a message or whatever. And so obviously it does work, or people wouldn't be spending millions of dollars on trying to shape opinions through social media.
It's crazy. Which brings me to my next crazy thing that's happening right now.
Hey, before your next crazy thing, Nick sports the water bottles, right? He's got the water bottle sponsorship.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, right? Nick, I don't know if you know this, but our show now is now sponsored by Tanned as Fuck, right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Tanned as Fuck is now sponsoring.
You're so cool for using that, by the way. It's just it's unbelievable. I've really transformed you into a very, very cool person since you met me. Which brings me to my next, and I know you're gonna love this topic. Cancel culture. What the fuck happened there? What the fuck happened there? You feel cancel? You know what you told me one day, Matt? This is a true story. We were discussing about making an OnlyFans account. Me and Phil. This is a true story. This is a private conversation. We talked about it a little bit on the air, but before we talked about it on the air, we actually thought about doing an OnlyFans account that people can pay a membership to come on, and then we would come on once a week and do a video and present drama from this industry that I have saved for the last 2 years that have never made the public eye. That eventually we're going to go to the book, but instead of doing the book, we figured this is a good way because people like to interact and get things, live. Mm-hmm. And Phil's reaction to me was, but with cancel culture, they might just cancel our products.
I mean, cancel. Okay, cancel culture is a tough subject because on one hand, you definitely have what's called a cancel culture. On the other hand, you have the anti-cancel culture that's giving more air to the cancel culture than it deserves when it's not. But you also have both sides canceling. I mean, you have the righties trying to cancel things like Nike and the NFL and freaking Yeti coolers. I think that was a thing for a while. You have the left trying to cancel, My Pillow companies and people that they think are racist or whoever. But at the same time, there's just so much talk about cancel culture. You've always had people bitching about people on the internet, right?
Yeah.
But now, there's a new industry of just talking and complaining about cancel culture and making it an even bigger thing than it really is, in my opinion.
Phil?
I know we're sitting next together, but you feel free to disagree.
Oh, believe me, I will. I have no problem with that.
Oops, sorry.
So I think cancel culture is called out at the wrong times, right? The perfect example is Dr. Seuss, right? Everybody was losing their minds, cancel culture, Dr. Seuss. But if you look into that, there was no cancel culture.
I completely agree.
They just looked at their product and they said, okay, this is a little bit iffy. We're going to pull this, right?
Yeah, but people are saying that Biden canceled Dr. Seuss. People are literally posting this on Facebook constantly.
But the world is full of fake news. I hate to say that because when you say fake news, you're like, oh, you're right, because you're saying the term fake news, right? But there's so much, and it's on both sides of the fence. It's on both sides, and this is what I try to keep saying, right? Is that needs to stop, right? Because what news media has become is 5% news and 95% opinion.
Yeah, that's definitely
right.
Sure.
And it's the opinion that is driving this country apart from each other. And believe me, I truly feel Trump said that media is the enemy of the public, right? I agree with that, not necessarily for his reasons, but from what I see. From what I see, is that if you watch them, everything that they say inflames these guys. And if you watch these guys, everything they say inflames these guys. It's ridiculous what is going on in this country right now. And if it doesn't stop, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
But it's just, but it also, like, it's up to the viewers to change that, because it's just capitalism, right? They're going to do what sells. And so, you know, obviously they figured out that getting people outraged will keep them tuned in. And it doesn't just happen with TV. It also is online with different articles, clickbait, stuff like that. And people, clickbait's called clickbait because people click on it. And so for as long as people continue buying into this, they spend 5 hours watching Fox News or MSNBC or whatever, and because they want to see the next drama coming up, or they want to get outraged about, this new migrant thing at the border, or Dr. Seuss, or whatever the hell it is. You're feeding into that, and it'll never change.
I think one of the worst things that has happened, right, is that news media went 24/7.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
Because now that you go 24/7 and you have your own media channel, now you've got to advertise. You have to make that business profitable.
Yeah.
Right? If news media was still just, you watch your daily news at the end of the day, you get your half an hour's worth of news, I don't think we would be in the situation that we're in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The 24-hour news cycle changed everything.
Absolutely.
And this was going on way before, CNN started in late 90s or something, or maybe even earlier than that, mid 90s. And they need people to keep glued to the channel, and that's what works. And it's not gonna change. And it's just like with social media as well. The Facebook algorithm wasn't built to okay, we're gonna prop up every single outrageous article and anything that's not true. It was just built to anything that's getting a lot of engagement, we need to amplify that. And a fake news article or something that was super, super controversial is what gets people to engage, and the algorithm then serves that to more people. And so it's like we've done it to ourselves to an extent. It's human nature. And that's just how they figured out a way how to hone in on human nature and how to expose it, and that's where we're at.
Yeah. My point always goes to, look, you don't like a company, just don't buy their shit. That's what it boils down to. I mean, this is how, if I go to a restaurant, I don't like their food, I'm not going to cancel culture and get on Facebook and say, oh, there's some of this fucking restaurant. They say nobody should eat this. I just don't go back. And if more people would do that, then we wouldn't have the situation that we are now. In some cases, this cancel culture gives them even more publicity than what they're expecting. It actually helps them. Let me go through some of these super chats because I'm right behind.
Do you remember the thoughts and opinions of this individual does not necessarily reflect the thoughts and opinions of our business?
Yes.
Why can't we go back to that?
Yes, absolutely. Just speak with your wallet.
Go back to that.
Speak with your wallet.
CNN's been around since early 80s. You're right.
Vanessa Carter with a $24.99 super chat. Wow, look at that. Vanessa coming through with a super chat. Thank
paid
you,
for
Vanessa.
your gas to take us down.
You better take him to Lobster Lady. That's where I would take him. Costello with a $5 super chat. Trust in Fauci and bend over for the jab. I'm going to get to this now. Bruni Saint with a $15 super chat. Idiocracy is a prophetic movie. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And then No Tube with a $5 super chat. Hey, guys, what do you guys think about using a service like UShip? They use it for exotic animals and stuff. We talked about a little bit about that earlier. There are some non-common carriers that are starting to ship out, and some of these companies like Giant Vapes and Element Vapes are going to be using them. So I think there's a huge opportunity there.
I just ordered a monkey using UShip. It should be here any day now.
Oh, this place would be dope.
Would be great. That would be dope. Absolutely, you should. But what I'm saying is that if this industry would tighten up a little bit and get together and go to one of these companies and say, look, we got multi-million dollars. This is another thing that we can't do. If I tell you today, Matt, give me a number of what estimated shipping this industry does, you wouldn't know. Nobody knows because we haven't been able to unify that and get that financial number. But if this industry did that and went to UShip or even went to FedEx and UPS and sat down and said, maybe you guys are making a mistake here. Look at what, financially this
and that's one area where maybe consolidation might help that. Again, it's not that I'm all for big business and fuck the small guy. I love the small guy, but
even the small guy, Matt, excuse me, but even the small guy, if let's say a small mom and pop's online website went to UPS and said, look, I do $100 a month, they're not going to take him seriously. But if all the moms and pop shops came together and said, look, collectively, we're doing $50 million worth of business every year, then that's a huge, then you'd be able to have a seat at the table is what I'm saying.
Yeah. What I think is more likely to happen is you're going to see, the giant vape types and these big dogs start to use this X delivery. And maybe a year from now, people at FedEx and UPS are going to be like, look at how they're doing it.
Yes.
They're doing it all properly. They're filing all their paperwork. They're following the regulations to a T. Okay, we're more comfortable now. Let's start allowing vape shipping again.
Absolutely. Let me bring a phone call in. 973. They've been waiting very, very patiently.
Before you do, I feel bad for Vanessa. I feel bad for Vanessa, the way you treat Vanessa.
What?
Because she could only come with $24.99. Well, if you treat her a little bit better, she'd go the full $25.
That's her allowance for the week, Phil. Come on, give her a break.
Vanessa not to spend so much damn money on Amazon.
I told you that's her allowance for the week.
Hey, Vanessa, I'm right there with you. Every day I got something coming from Amazon.
You know how
it's too easy to spend money on Amazon.
You know how vape reviewers get lots of packages, right?
She does for me.
She gets more fucking packages than I do.
That's great.
It's awesome.
All right.
Have a lot more.
I'll tell you, Amazon. Sometimes I order so much from Amazon, like a box will come, and I have no idea what's in the box.
That happens to me.
That's
sometimes.
so much fun.
I've done it before. Where I'm like, I don't want to open this right now, and then it'll sit there for a couple months, and then I open the package up later, and I've totally forgot even.
It's great.
Oh, I needed plastic trash bags for some reason 2 months ago.
All right, 973. You're on the air with Matt, Dimmy, and Phil.
Hey, this is Dan from New Jersey. How you guys doing?
Hey, Dan, what's up?
Yeah.
So no, I just want to sort of talk about the shipping situation a little bit. Because I think people have it a little bit twisted about, FedEx and UPS not understanding the opportunity or whatever. I think they have a very, very good idea of the size.
Mm-hmm.
They actually do a pretty good job of understanding what the revenue is coming from different industries and things like that. And it's a commission-based business at the rep level. So there was definitely a lot of reps that were advocating, even if the industry can't come together and sort of consolidate and try to represent itself as one unit, there was a lot of reps that are going to lose a lot of commission. So there was no sort of shortage of lobbying. It's just that it's something that happened in New York State about a decade ago, where people were smuggling cigarettes into New York State using UPS. And UPS ended up paying a massive fine. And so a lot of people don't know this, but UPS had shut off shipping vape products into New York State months ago when New York enacted their when New York enacted their taxes up there because of the history of what had happened to them back then.
Okay.
So UPS and FedEx's position on this actually was just that this is extraordinarily complex, right? I think that as people in this industry who have tried to now comply with this have understood that it is extraordinarily complex. For UPS and FedEx to sort of meter out who's playing by the rules and who isn't, nobody in the industry knows how to play by the rules, right? And the deadline's sort of coming faster than the actual rules are going to be in place. So that's how it was sort of explained to us. But I think I just want to explain to people who might be listening, who are in the industry, as I am, that there's an extraordinary amount of resources going into building out another couple of delivery networks.
So is that the plan that you're taking? Are you're just exploring? I mean, this is what you're going to do to continue your business?
I mean, we are, we're going to sort of do whatever it takes. I don't want to sort of say too much.
Sure.
But we're going to, if we have to build it out across the country ourselves, we will.
Right.
And I think that's what sort of people don't understand, is that the industry is big enough that you can't make the industry go away because of final mile delivery. Right. I would say that. And I would also say, I think that one of the things that I think about every day when I see all these Facebook, PACT Act groups and things like that, is how much the industry wants to comply. Right.
Yeah.
So you see these you see these guys who are probably doing $300-400 a day. Right. like obsessed with filling out every last form and everything like that. So I think the industry needs to be commended from a certain standpoint. Like these people are spending hours a day trying to figure out. I mean, you know, you got a guy doing a couple grand a month at a vape shop trying to track down the ATF.
Yeah.
That's probably never happened before.
Correct.
Right. And so, like, you know, compare and contrast that with the marijuana industry that is, you know, basically acted illegally for decades now. Right. And so I think that, you know, there's a lot of negatives that one could say about the vape industry, but I think the past couple months have shown that they really do want to comply with the rules. It's just getting to the point now where the rules are becoming so onerous that it's not really about regulation anymore. It's just about extraordinary red tape. And the people that are creating the red tape often don't have the answers as to how to cut the tape.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, my only point about like UPS and FedEx was not necessarily like they're upset about losing money, but once the dust settles and they see that it's possible to do through, you know, when the industry is using another shipping company, maybe at that point they'll be more comfortable with you know, getting on board and doing it themselves as well.
Yeah, I think, look, it's important to remember, I mean, you know, UPS regularly cuts off large accounts. They shut down Nordstrom a couple months ago. They don't have the capacity to do the business they're doing now, right? So, and that's exactly what was explained to us. Like, we actually won't miss it because we can't even do the stuff we're doing now because of the pandemic.
Understood.
Right? So I don't think it's a function of like, you know, they're going to lose money and all of a sudden UPS and FedEx are going to, you know, really be hurting from this. It's just that the complexity of the regulation is extraordinary, right? And I think that's sort of the biggest problem, rather than figuring out how to, you know, lease out some Ford, you know, some Sprinter vans and deliver stuff to customers. That's actually not that complicated. It's just that even if you were to do that and have all the money in the world to sort of build out your own network today, as we sit here today, you know, 2 days before the comment period ends, nobody has any idea if they're actually following the rules or not. Right. So
yeah, are you on Danish? Are you on the same boat as us when we're saying the end's not here? I mean, it's like you said. I've been through this process trying to help these people get through it. I mean, it's just a complete chaos right now trying to even comply for the companies that want to do it right. But even with that in place, are you of the same mindset? Is that we're here, we're not going anywhere?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I you know, the way I think about things is like, will the net amount of nicotine consumed using vaping technology next year be higher or lower? I don't think there's anybody intelligent who says it's going to be lower than it is this year. I think that, you know, and I think, like, you know, where I sit, we sit on a lot of data. And so people see things like disposables and they say, well, you know, that's the end of everything else and everybody's just going to pod mods and disposables. All of that is bullshit. Right? All of that is bullshit.
Agreed.
All of the salt nick is taking over the world is bullshit. There's sort of like, you know, the whole industry is juice and coils, right? Yeah. Whether that coil's in a pod or not, you know, there's nothing that sells like bottles of e-liquid that you guys have behind your desk. There's just nothing in the industry today that sells like that. And there never has been. And that's essentially an enthusiast way of using this product. Right.
Correct.
And the vape shop model is an enthusiast model, right? You don't need 2,000 square foot stores to sell one or two products. You really need, and like what you guys were saying earlier, it's tough to figure out what's going to work for people.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't think gas station vaping can convert smokers. Juul has done a pretty good job, right? Because of their sheer availability on shelves. But, you know, to convert as many people as this industry has, you do need that variety.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, we could talk about this forever, but I don't think vaping's going anywhere. I mean, marijuana didn't go anywhere when they were throwing people in jail for it. Right. Yeah. So FDA warning letters are certainly not going to stop something if prison sentences didn't stop things. Yeah. Right. It doesn't even make any sense to think about it.
I think it's a very, very good perspective.
Anyway,
and
I don't take up too much
time.
No.
I appreciate the input. And I think it's very good for people to hear that as well, too, to just chill out. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. I mean, it's the rough couple of months, I guess, maybe, you know, as people figure out sort of what to do. But like, even for the smallest guys out there, this is what I want to say to the smallest guy running the smallest website, right? Like, chill out for a couple of months, see, you know, order something from the bigger websites and see how it shows up.
Yeah.
Right? There's not going to be a secret sauce that they have, right? And as far as like the 500 packages that these guys want, once they see that there's a requisite amount of volume in your area, they'll make a stop at your warehouse.
They'll probably change that, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So everybody needs to sort of like, I think chill out, like Dimmy said.
Yep.
Everything's going to be okay.
Dan, always well-informed and always great input from you. We really appreciate it.
That was Donish, right?
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I just call myself Dan.
He's trying to go incognito here, but we always.
He's a smart dude. I love it.
Very, very smart guy. All right, Dan. I hope to see you. I hope to see you at some point, bro. I've missed seeing you guys, so I hope all this goes away soon and we're able to hang out again.
We'll figure it out soon.
Thanks, brother. Have a good night over there in Jersey.
See you, man.
See you.
All right, take care. All right, bye.
So you heard it from Medusa. I mean, it's not going anywhere. Everybody chill out. 361. You're on the air with Matt, Phil, and Dimmy.
Well, hello, gentlemen.
Hello, sir.
I want to say how, as a physical therapist who sees injured people all day, every day, how proud I am of you being able to use both of your hands.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. I'm getting there.
This whole situation is...
By the way, this is Patrick from Smoke Free Radio, just for people to get to. Anyway.
He hasn't been able to use his hands for all the things.
Not all the things yet, but I'm getting there slowly. I've got to practice.
I mean, this is, having those two crosses with you, has worked miracles for sure.
Still wearing them right here.
Yeah, I'm just so happy because I see your pictures and I'm watching your recovery going, I could be there to help you, but I have patience here. But back to the UPS and FedEx thing, the other thing that people may not be paying attention to is, UPS got hit in November with a $20 million fine to the state of New York. Or no, that was FedEx. These guys are fully aware of, PACT Act violation costs to their business.
Yeah.
I completely understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, because they're currently litigating like 5 other cases in 5 other states. So, these guys, if they get hit with $100 million in fines,
Yeah. So they're like, let's shut it down and figure it out later, basically.
Yeah. I don't think people realize that, that they are in this and they've been in this for a long time. I mean, obviously, every once in a while somebody will try to ship tobacco products and then the company gets stung when they get in the international shipper that's shipping those products. So yeah, I mean, they understand what this is going to cost them, but they also have to look at the bigger picture. So I don't want to defend them, but they're making decisions for their company and for their business, and hopefully it all works out in the end. But as long as people, we're survivors. Vapors are survivors. We're going to always try to figure out ways to continue. And it's not time to circle the wagons and throw up the white flag. We're going to keep doing what we have to do. And, there are companies, I'm getting emails. I got a 5 Ponds email today saying that they're working on their system and that they're working on getting every state compliant, and they'll have something, they're closing their site down until mid-April, and then they'll have, availability to deliver to some states in mid-April. So everybody's working and doing their damnedest to be able to provide product to vapors and smokers.
Yeah.
We're not ready to give up on 40 million smokers or whatever the number is here in the United States. So yeah, I mean, sometimes we get negative, but nobody should feel like it's time to throw in the towel.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and I think too often in the vape community, we jump into like conspiracy theories right away where, these shippers, they're working with the government. It's a coordinated attack to kill us. Honestly, I think, with a company like UPS or FedEx, it was just, the pros did not outweigh the cons. And so they, like the last couple callers said, I mean, there's too much risk right now. Hopefully that changes. And once the dust settles, they'll they'll be more comfortable with it, and then there will be more shipping options. But I get it from a business standpoint. Obviously, I don't like it, but I get it from a business standpoint why they would just cut it off right now, especially when there's still some unknowns with this regulation.
But it's also a little bit scary, Patrick, if you think about it. If UPS can afford a $10 million fine, the Plume Room can't. Right. So you understand what I'm saying? The contrast of these smaller companies trying to comply with these onerous regulations puts them in a huge disadvantage, because this is not the FDA, this is the ATF. And if UPS is stopping it because they got what are these small companies going to do? You know, it might put them in a huge financial burden, especially if they don't comply with some very hard to understand process of not only complying with the PACT Act federally, but, you know, state by state cases.
Well, and, you know, actually, I think we're doing the right thing by working with these smaller companies. They may not have the volume, and they may not have the spread as the bigger players, but some of these companies specialize in regulated delivery of regulated products.
Yes.
And they may actually have a better handle on PACT Act compliance than these bigger shippers that haven't, actively pursued those industries. So, you know, I think that, everybody's doing the right thing. And I think, like, you know, what Matt said a while ago was that once UPS and FedEx see what these other companies are doing and the infrastructure that they have in place for their smaller regional distribution of these regulated products, I think we might have a better chance of getting them to come back at a later date, or they may just buy up those companies and add that infrastructure to theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did a little research on the X delivery, which it looks like some people are going to be using. And the guys that started that up, they're not like laymen. I mean, these guys have experience. It was basically started for, like what you said, you know, niche industries, regulated industries. They have guys that have 20 years of logistics experience. They have these tech bro dudes that are running algorithms and trying to figure out the best way to set up their network and stuff. So it didn't seem, you know, just reading about who started it, it doesn't seem like they're just, you know, some random guys that thought that they could make a buck from shipping. Like, they seem pretty legit to me from what I've seen.
Yeah, and listen, Rob makes a really good point. The PACT Act of 2009 has never been reversed, and no exceptions have been made since its inception. I completely agree that I was on a webinar with some attorneys that were a 2-hour webinar on this particular subject, and they said the same thing. It's never happened, and they don't anticipate that's going to happen. You might see some language change from the USPS final rule because a lot of the weed guys are pissed because of the definition. The definition is very, very broad, and it captures everything. It captures no nicotine liquids, tobacco-free nicotine liquids. It captures Delta-8. It captures dealer antler juice. It captures field sweat balls. I mean, it captures everything that can be vaporized is included in this. So we might see a little bit of change in that. But, yeah, I completely agree with Rob on that. But anyway, Patrick, you made a good point. We're going to be here. We're going to be listening to Smoke Free Radio on Friday nights.
And the wild thing is the weed, if you think about it, the cannabis industry is potentially losing more than we are even on this.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
We have vape shops in every. Now, obviously, I know if you're in a rural area, you might not have a vape shop, but we have vape shops in every state. But if you're someone that lives in Tennessee and you've always bought, weed's not legal in Tennessee, right?
No, medical is trying to pass this year,
okay.
but yeah.
So, like, you've always bought your PAX vaporizer online, and all of a sudden that business goes away. I mean, these companies in the cannabis industry are fucked.
Yes, totally agree. Patrick, anything else?
No, I just, like I said, I'm just happy that you're getting healthier.
Thank you,
and that you're recovering, and, you know, we ain't going anywhere.
Absolutely.
So, you know, don't try to, you know, people are giving up. I see people giving up, and it's not time to give up.
Thank you, Patrick.
So,
have a wonderful night out there in Texas.
Yep.
Buddy. By the way, you can catch Patrick every Friday night on Smoke Free Radio. You can search any podcast player, Spreaker, SoundCloud, anywhere the podcasts are available. Really, really good show. He's been having some really, really good guests. I mean, it's been a good show all the day long, but some really good guests lately. So check it out. If you're just bored at work or driving, Smoke Free Radio, just search for it. You're going to be able to find it. All right, I got one more call here. 406, you're on the air.
Hey, this is Bertha from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Hey, Bertha, how you doing out there in Nebraska?
Pretty good. First of all, I just want to thank Matt for getting me off the Steakley Weeklies because
This is definitely Vanessa, not anyone from Lincoln, Nebraska.
You should have let her
Yeah,
go.
let it go. You should have let it go. It was my fantasy to always have like phone sex from a chick from Nebraska.
Sorry, my bad.
But really, this is Bertha from.
It was good. You had me going. I don't know why he ruined the fantasy. I'll be honest with you.
Now I feel bad for her because Dimitri's going to watch.
No, I'll shut up. I'm muting. I'm muting.
I'm sorry.
Take over, boys. I'm muting.
You think Cuomo sexually harasses? Just wait.
I just knew she was going to say something very inappropriate, and I needed to preface it.
Oh, no. Come on, man. Why? He ruined it, Vanessa.
I missed you. We're going to cuddle later.
Yeah, I got to get Matt back to his freeze.
She can't stop laughing. I'm waiting for the snort to come. That's going to really give it away.
What are you doing, honey?
This is Bertha from Lincoln, Nebraska, and I just wanted to thank you, Matt, for getting me to suck your mom.
Bertha's been drinking my Don Julio.
Oh, man. Can you imagine a chick in Nebraska got to suck your mod and quit smoking? I mean, that's just amazing. That's the kind of stories we should be sending to the FDA.
These are the stories that keep me going.
I mean, really, this is designed for you right here. This is suck my mod right there. I mean, that's the mod right there. You know?
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it could be a little bigger, but
yeah.
Bertha, do you get DP in Nebraska?
See, I told you.
Oh, I get a lot of DP.
It's great. It's fantastic. It's good.
Not just your show, but double pen.
What'd she say? Can you please repeat that?
Said not only your show, but double pen.
Oh.
Pen, by the way, Matt, if you don't know, is an abbreviation for penetration. I just want to make sure we clarify that so you understand what I'm talking about.
We're gonna have to have a talk later.
Phil, look at Phil. Well, Bertha, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful night there in Nebraska, and I hope you enjoy some DP tonight. Thank you.
Shocker.
It sounds like Bertha's
Did you just say you hope she experiences DP tonight?
Absolutely, yeah. What's it?
Are you inviting me in when I drop?
No, I mean I can do it myself.
Listen, DP with Phil is like 1.5, really. It doesn't really count for full DP. Joshua McCarran says, Phil and Matt, any thoughts on California online vape retailers? And some of them claiming they can't ship, but others saying they can. They refuse to respond or provide proof.
I don't know. And somebody has brought up that there's Element Vape is saying they can't ship to Nevada. I have no clue why that is. I think you might have commented that on my video earlier today, because I think I remember reading that too.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything about that as far as why they wouldn't be able to ship to Nevada.
I don't know if there's some specific. I mean, there's some states that are weird with their licensing. You have some states you have to get a business license and a wholesale license and be bonded. Some states you have to. I mean, there's some weird. Some of these state laws have been built by wholesale tobacco dealers of the last 20 years to monopolize, right? So they create some a little bit more burdensome from state to state. That way there's not a lot of people that are going to be distributing cigarettes and tobacco products to the state. So that might be the reason. But I personally, Joshua, to answer your question, I would like to see why they wouldn't. And I think that some of them might be a little cop-out. Listen, I guess I'll break like a little secret. There are some companies that have negotiated with bigger companies to carry their products or run their websites for them, so you can still place an order for somebody and somebody else can actually going to be handling the shipping. So maybe some of them just don't want to say it right now because it kind of to take. So there's some of that going on as well too. But hey, Joshua, order from somewhere else. I mean, that's what it boils down to. It's just like I said earlier, cancel culture. Forget it. Just vote with your wallet. They don't want your business. Give it to somebody else. That's where it boils down to. All right. What else? What else we haven't covered today before we wrap it up? Because Matt better get home because Vanessa sounds like she will be DPing without him tonight. That's the way she sounded on the phone.
She could be passed out way before we get back to that.
She went out to Mexican food, and I think she had some what she calls. What does she call it? Tequila. She shortens everything, so she now calls tequila tequila.
Oh, really?
A couple shots of tequila.
She just shortened penetration to pen, and I like it. I like that. That's a good double pen. Is a really good. She did a very, very good job with that.
Hey, you want to see the view from Matt's place?
Yeah, show me. Hold on, let me put you on the main. Let me put you on the main. Look at that. That's big suck my mod money right there.
Look at that beautiful Fort Myers right there. That's the bridge that goes over to Fort Myers Beach, right?
Yeah, we've been there.
I do not own this place, by the way. I just rented it for a week.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
We won't palm trees. God, I love palm trees.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, I mean, it's a good place to go and relax. It really is. But the area where you are is a little bit more party. Where Phil is, it's a little bit more insure. That's the difference. That's the difference between the two.
Because I'm getting old too, and I love the house that we're at. But then we went walking, trying to find restaurants and shit. Every place is packed because of spring break. Yeah. There's like crazy shit happen. We walked by this one group where like a couple dudes looks like they were like, I don't know, like we're both trying to talk a really drunk girl into doing something. Like it felt it felt grody. It felt like I was in a freaking frat house.
He's really like Fort Myers it's younger, right?
Yeah. And it's spring break now too, isn't it?
Isn't spring break going on? Yes. And he's like right in the heart of it. He's right in the middle of it all. As a matter of fact, when I was going to pick him up, okay, so this happened. I make the turn and I get on his street, and there's three girls walking in front of me. They all had bikinis on. They had thongs on.
That's hot.
They're walking right in the middle of the road. They're walking super, super slow. And you know what? I was fine with it. It was okay with me.
Yeah, Phil called me and he's like, I'm right around the corner, but then he never showed up at my house until about 45 minutes later. So who knows what was going on.
By the way, spring break where Phil lives means that senior citizens get 50% off for spring rolls. That's the difference between where you're staying at and where Phil is actually.
No, I saw some of his hot neighbors. Nancy across the street. She was looking good in her one piece.
Absolutely.
And Gladys over there. She looks like she didn't have teeth, but that can be.
Gladys is the one that has the 1 foot in the grave, right? I remember her. Yeah. She's counting the days down. By the way,
my neighbors watch this show.
My
neighbors are watching the show. I apologize.
Thank God their names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Phil even has stairs in this house where he has one of those little seats that you can ride up the stairs.
Oh no, you're this no.
I do want to bring this up for our good Canadian friends. See, it's not just in America things are bad. Canada is bad as well too. There's a new website that's been built, 𝗏𝗂𝗋𝗋𝗆𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋𝗋 going on. I did promise a very beautiful young lady that I was going to promote this, and I've been pushing it on Twitter. So if you see me on Twitter, please retweet it. Try to get some traction on it. 𝗏𝗂𝗎𝑙𝑠.ca is the new website opposing the flavor ban that is going on right now in the federal government up in Canada. So you see, it's not just us, Phil. Canada is in trouble as well, too. Well, the whole world is, because vaping has taken everybody by storm.
Bruce, I do not have a shiner. I just have some weird tan lines going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, if anybody thinks like this tan is lighting, okay.
Yeah,
no, he's very dark.
It's just always like that. He is Tan Mom in vaping. Daryl Roach says, why did they change coils to cotton from silica wick? Wow. That's a OG question.
Silica wick sucked compared to cotton.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. I mean, obviously, wicking efficiency is one. The way that coils were built with horizontal, going from vertical to horizontal cotton obviously makes more sense than silica. There's a lot of reasons why, but silica simply wasn't efficient as the technology was moving. It was not efficient for the products that were being designed.
Yeah. Silica did not move as much liquid as cotton can, right? And when you get into things like sub-ohming, you have to move a lot of liquid, and silica is not going to do it.
Absolutely, sub-ohming. I think one of the first tanks was for sub-ohming that had the cotton in there, and then it's funny because through all these years, like the wicking has been like one significant change. Now we're seeing some wood pulp, but it's still a mixture of cotton today. And we're playing around with this new coil that we're releasing for our Z line, a new Z coil that's MTL. Maybe you can give one to Matt to try out, Phil. I just thought about that.
I have one left and I can't.
You're getting the package in tomorrow with like 15 of them.
It's the only one I have left.
This is what I said. You're getting a package with about 15 of them tomorrow. Maybe you can toss one to him before he leaves, so he can give us this MTL. But anyway, it's funny. That's really the only change that has been made as far as the wicking is concerned. Like you'd think that there'd be like more innovation to that, but there's really not many options. No comment. Okay.
Cotton is king.
Cotton is king.
Yeah, I thought by today, right? And we got to get Matt back home because we still have a 45-minute drive ahead of us. I thought by today we would be doing something cool, right? Yeah. We tried ultrasonics, and that really too much power is required for ultrasonic. Yeah. We that did not work. But like, hitting liquid with a laser or spraying liquid onto a coil. And I think even that has been tried, right? But we haven't seen like much outside of just getting liquid to a coil via cotton, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me to see something crazy different at some point, but the most effective way is still cotton. And I've tried some of those, ultrasonic devices. And it's interesting. It's a different vape. I could see how it could get better and better, but like you said, there's battery issues involved there.
Yeah, it just requires too much power, and like everything about ultrasonic vaping was weak except for the battery requirements, which was strong. Right? That's the way it felt. Yeah. Everything was anemic except for the battery requirements.
I remember one time we were talking with Phil. This could have been one of our first trips in China or fairly 5-6 years ago, but I remember one time we were talking with Phil. It's like, how we haven't come up with a way that as soon as you hit the button, there's no wicking material at all. It just sprays the liquid, on. Like you'd think like something like that would have been done by now, but there's just so many variables, I guess, in the liquid that it's very, very difficult to do that.
Scott, I wouldn't be surprised if those wicking tests didn't lead to more companies using cotton, especially the natural organic cotton. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so
I remember those tests.
We've covered it all. Matt, thank you for taking the time out of your vacation to come on and hang out with us. It was fun. I really enjoyed it.
I got to take a break away from all the girls at my rental. And by girls, I mean Vanessa and teenagers that are there.
Do you want to stay here? I'll go back there.
That's something. And you're worried about me?
Swapping spots for a day.
But in all seriousness, yeah, it was fun. We did some serious stuff. We did some funny stuff. We found out that double pen means double penetration. That was a really good, interesting fact. We might see.
Figured that out.
We might see that in a future Jeopardy episode. But
let me just reiterate what Dimitri said there. Matt is on his vacation. He does have his family here. He did take out the time. 45-minute drive here, be on the show for 2 hours, another 45-minute drive back. So, Matt, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Hey,
right?
Thank you for picking me up. You're the one that's chauffeuring me around.
That's true. Well,
I'm having a good time.
You'll get the
And
receipt.
no, I'm not getting paid by DP. I might be getting paid for DPing later.
Apparently something is happening when you get back.
From DP, you're getting paid by DP. It's a big difference in wording there. You got to be very careful. Yes.
By Demian Phil, of course, he means. Listen, next Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do another DP show, and we're going to have guest Zen on, one of the originators, one of the OGs in this industry. You can learn a lot of things about Zen.
The Zenesis Atomizer.
Zenesis Atomizer and a whole lot more.
𝗣𝗵𝗶𝗀.
I might have to call in for that show and have a talk with them about my first ZNA I bought.
The ZNA.
Yeah. Don't bring up sore subjects with a ZNA.
I'm joking.
But yeah, it's really interesting to have him on. So I hope you guys can tune in and make sure you call in with your questions and your comments. And then hopefully after that we'll do another smoker show, which will be 2 weeks from next Tuesday, Phil.
Yes. Yeah, Smoker Show 2 weeks from next Tuesday, but next Tuesday, another DP show with Zen, Mike Morgan.
Make sure you like and share this video. It really helps the algorithms. We really, really appreciate it. And from me, Matt, And Phil, have a wonderful evening.